Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Welcome to the first Living Our Values 11/11 of 2025. And boy, has 2025 kicked off. The first 11 days of 2025 are felt like a year in those 11 days. I'm in Los Angeles with Sheila Arthur, and we are here while our beloved city is burning. And it
Hmm.
is really been a devastating week. And there aren't a lot of words except that it's heartbreaking uh and almost everybody I know knows somebody who's lost everything. I've known several people who have, and let alone all the animals that have been harmed and the environment and uh, businesses. And it's still going. And just all the firefighters um, around the world, not around the world, the firefighters locally, but around the country, and even some other countries coming. Other states have sent firefighters, and I've been really touched by that. And I grappled with, do we still do this today? Do we still meet today? Is there an email to send out that would feel right? And my plan was, oh, it's the new year. We'll talk about values and setting goals and what does the new year look like? And life happens, right? We meet life on life's terms. And as I grapple with this, so how do you take this devastation? How do you take the devastation and honoring what's going on, the immense loss of for so many people, like the pain, and not just look for the bright side. I don't want any of the passing over that, the positive, what is it called, like toxic positivity. But how do you hold that, the duality of what is happening, and also recognize that it is a new year, it is an opportunity to think about hope and optimism, and how do you hold them at the same time? And what I came up with was just a simple path forward. Not necessarily an easy one. It's not, but it's a simple one. And that is, it is a time that calls for more love. And we need to find that love within us so that we can take care of ourselves and find the love in share it with others. So today we're going to talk about that. And when I talk about love, what does more love look like? I'd love to hear what you all think of what that would look like. If there's an idea of what more love could be, is it compassion? Is it self-compassion and compassion for others, kindness, listening, being of service?
Oh, for sure, being of service.
Yeah, I'm feeling that. And I hopefully we can share some resources today around that too.
Yeah, I think we're all on call.
Yeah. And I've opened my home. I have some UCLA students here with my daughter, so they're staying here. And I but it's a call for more love. And I think that that call for love transcends this event, right? That we all have periods in life that are challenging. And how do we take that and also live our lives and acknowledge that where we are with that? So one of the acronyms that we use here and that I have loved is that living our values every day is a radical act of love. So we talk about that. Hi, Anita. Welcome. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about how values can help us go through challenging times, and we're going to talk about how to use them and then how to connect with each other around that and what do they look like. So I'd love to hear from all of you. Sheila, do you have anything you want to start off? And then we can kind of hear how everybody's feeling and check in with everybody.
I think you said it really beautifully. It really is around, it's always around reconnecting and understanding what values are at play for you in every moment. I find myself just my value of leading with compassion is obviously like right there on the forefront. And it really, I've had conversations with people just about their bandwidth around dealing with all of this and how it, at some point it's like you can just like say, oh, it's over there. It's not related to me. I need to like step out for a moment. But just having that compassion, I really do. I have been trying to just put myself in people's shoes, as I look around my space. From my window, I've been able to see the smoke every day going right to the ocean. And just the intensity of it. And so it's like ever present, like just right here, just looking and seeing it, but just recognizing how many people are suffering and what that feels like to lose everything, even though, we say, oh, yeah, but you still have your life. Yeah, but it's like you lose your safety, you lose your sense of groundedness, your sense of peace, your sense of everything that a home provides. And
Yeah,
losing that is just, that's like, gosh, it just makes me get really upset just thinking about it because that's so hard not to have a place to go that's
yeah,
yours. That private, sacred space is so vital to our well being. So I just have been really into just recognizing that, hearing the stories, thinking about that, trying to take in as much as I can. And then when I can't, just doing a little bit of Netflix binging just to like
right.
balance everything out. I'm like, okay, all right, I'm full. I'm full. Okay, I'm gonna come back to it. I'm full. I'm looking out the window. I'm full. But recognizing that even though as much as I'm feeling, the people who are impacted feel so much more. And
Yeah,
that's what I try to remember is that humanity. They feel so much.
right.
It's so much more difficult for them than it is for me to see something or to tune out. They can't. It's just like
Right.
ever present. And it's just our common humanity is just the incredible part that binds us all and just wanting to reconnect with that and to be very conscious of that and to help to spread that as much as I can.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I really appreciate that. And what you said, like you know your value of leading with compassion. And when we know our values intimately, when we really use them as our inner compass, we can speak them and say them, and they're at the tip of our tongues because we know them. They become this anchor for us during times of challenge. Right now, it's these horrific wildfires, but the last time I remember kind of feeling like this too was I drove to Palisades when I was ending my marriage. And that was I went to go stay with a friend and had my two little kids, and it was a stormy night, and we were, that house we stayed in is gone. But that
Mm.
was a profound time, and it reminds me of that. It's like these life-changing moments. So the challenges take different forms in our lives. They're turning points in our lives, and I feel this is one. And we have people on here who aren't in LA, but have lived in LA, have related to LA, or know people here, and but we can all relate to the immensity of this. Losing a home, losing a marriage, losing a partner, losing any kind of loss is painful and and it's grief. And so for me, that's how the values came to be in my life, such a tool, because they kind of emerged out of that muck. Just like the kind of lotus flower comes out of the mud, right? The mud of the challenge of what's happening, the values became this thing that I could hold on to. And so that's why I offer this for all of you, because I want to share that and offer you a tool that can be so powerful in your life. So for me, connection is one of my values, and that's something that I've been with today, as well as integrity, like knowing what I can handle, what I can't handle, being truthful, being able to show up in ways that honor myself. It was not business as usual for me. I had to deliver a press release in my work for a company in Amsterdam, and it didn't feel right to just send it like, here you go. Hope everything's good. And so for me, being able to acknowledge what was going on for us here and for our city was important to me. So I was able to be connect to myself and connect to them, and it's because it's around sustainability, it felt appropriate too. But these little tiny ways where we don't have to self-abandon our values help us find back a way back to ourselves, if that makes sense. And so I'm really glad to be here with all of you and to be able to talk about it. I would love to hear just a minute or two what brought you today, or if you wanted to share a moment of how you're doing. I want to hear from each of you for just a minute or two. Who would like to start?
I would, am I on?
Yeah, you're
Oh, everybody
unmuted.
hear
Go
me?
ahead.
Because I can't see the microphone on my
Mm,
image here. So I just know that one of my values is community. And today I read that YMCA and YWCA are accepting volunteers and looking for volunteers and looking for clothes and anything you can give away. So I'm going to volunteer and see if I can figure out how to be helpful today. And
yes.
that's one of the top four is community. Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
And in terms of loss too, that's what I've heard a lot too. People have felt like they've lost a community. The Palisades was a very close community.
Yeah.
People have been there for generations, and some of these houses have been there.
Yeah. And our friend Jerry lives in the Palisades right there in the middle of it all. And I've called her every day and I can't reach her. She's 99 this year and she was with her sister. She invited me to visit her 2 weeks ago, and I'd been trying to figure out when, and now it's too late.
Yeah, it does make us, things like this remind us to be present, to
And
honor
to hear a call, I think.
and to
I
hear
think,
a call, right? And the fragility of it all that we
yeah,
hold and we take for granted.
yeah,
And the values also provide a ability or pathway to be really present. They remind us of who we are and what we care about in the moment. So we can be like, oh yeah, this is what's really important to me right now. So I'm going to act in the and take this step instead of that one. Thank you, Terry. Who else would like to go? Anita, do you want to go?
Yeah. Yes. So the reason I showed up is because it's more about like my business. I think that I struggle with being a leader within my business with my employees. And so coming from like listening to your speech uh uh, less than an hour ago, it really piqued my interest because I feel like in order for me to be an effective leader within my business, I need to really understand how to apply values in leadership, right? And so, I mean, I've done the typical, you know how like when you start a business, they tell you, okay, you have to put your mission statement, your vision statement, and that's all great and dandy, but how do you live that every day? Like, how do you put it in practice? And so that form that you shared with us, I think was a great example. And then obviously, since you generously invited us to come to this, I definitely would like to be part of it so that I can continuously be working on implementing those values within my organization. So thank you.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Thank you, Anita. I really appreciate hearing that. And there are it is all kind of related, right? Because we're in your business is, as you talked about, you're leading others in as a business owner, as a female business owner, a woman-owned business, and you're you're paying attention to them, and every person on your team is going to have a different challenge they're going through in their own life, whether it's this fire or something else. And the values provide a way to connect each other. And we can talk separately too. I'm happy to share more with you. But I just worked with a wealth management team out of Pennsylvania where the whole team went through the process together, and being able to really listen and hear each other and have people reflect for themselves what our values are and create an inner compass really creates a foundation for handling anything, whether the challenge is environmental around us, our community, our personal lives, but also how to handle prosperity, how to grow with integrity, how to grow in a way that is sustainable, not just in terms of the environment, but in terms of life. And these moments that we go through when they're this big, beg those questions. Like, who do we want to be in the world? How do we want to lead? How do we want to relate to each other? And the values provide answers in a way, and they're practical. So that's the difference. A lot of times in those things you're talking about, it's aspirational. You put a mission statement down, you write a thing, it's like kind of out there. What we talk about here, and kind of my mission or purpose, is to make them really practical tools to use every day to help make life more satisfying, fulfilling, and overall well-being of people, groups, teams, individuals, the planet, everything, like with the focus on well-being. So thank you for bringing that aspect into the conversation today. So who else? Christina, do you want to say a quick word about being here? It's nice to see you.
Hi, I didn't want to step on anybody's toes because I live in the Bay Area, so I'm not down by you guys on the west side or wherever. And but it's why am I here? It was quite I guess everything came together in my life this week. I have initiated basically formal divorce proceedings, or on the path of that. And so that felt cataclysmic, very much, felt like my world was turning upside down, but also a positive path forward too. And I thought that was so critical in this process of unentangling from my spouse, who Amy has known for a lifetime, and our two children. And what this week reminded me of, and we met down in Southern California and spent 7 years or 8 years down there. And so when I saw everything burning, it was shocking. And I was frightened, and I was frightened for everybody there, but I was frightened to see all of the loss and all of the catastrophe around. Thankfully, Amy, you are safe. I was so worried about you, and all of our, friends by you guys. We've been up here in Marin County. We just dodged the Wolseley fire in Napa, north of here. So I know what this feels like. It's fear. And people at the time, a couple of years back, were wandering, looking for a place to stay, things to borrow. Can we use extra things you have? They lost everything, as people by you. And it just was, it was strange. It was remnant. It felt like remnants, it felt like everything was changing. And now I feel like we're back there. But on a positive note, moving forward with my personal life, my marriage, soon not to be marriage, I thought about all the beauty we created between him and me, but when we lived in Los Angeles by you guys, and also how much love we had for each other. And now it's a path forward where I'm hopeful that my values of kindness and presence, I guess, will make this as kind and have enough of a soft landing for me, for my sons, but also for him. And so this has been quite, it was just a week of a lot of thought. And then all of you guys, what we were going through and our friends down by you, it was just it was strange. It's strange times, but I want to keep my head up and give back as much as I possibly can. Whether that's just kindness and or actual any help I can give, even if that's just smiling and and saying, "How can I help?" You know. So that's been my week has been quite strange, but it's okay. And the values I'm trying to hold on to are kindness and really presence. I'm trying to move forward though as well. I have been quite, as Amy knows, being my mentor through these times. I was stuck and I needed to get to the point where I was ready to implement values and move forward. And I reached that this week. So whatever happens, it is time to build my life. So
Thank you.
love you, Amy, and thank you for always being there for me, even though I wasn't there physically for you there this week. So
thank you for sharing all that. It's so much. I mean, the metaphors are profound, right? The multiple levels of what you're going through, and it's uh these are pivotal moments in life and life changing, and it is that holding the duality of both the fragility, the destruction, the heartbreak, and the hope and the ability to see a path forward. And not at, even if you can't see the hope, it's not about minimizing the pain. It's just about being able to be with it all at the same time and hold both at the same time, not one or the other. A lot of times people
yes,
like want to be like, oh, just be, grateful you're alive. No, it's
it
devastating.
is the duality, like you said,
Dual. It's the
Amy,
holding.
and is very much the duality of being present in the grief, because it is a grieving
Yes, it is the grief.
process,
It's the loss.
but also being an element of, I hope it's not delusion, but hopefulness and kindness.
When you're present in that moment, there's no delusion, right? It's just staying in the presence of that. Okay.
So
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you. So, Constance, do you want to say a quick hello or
Oh, hey.
so
I
good
have a
to
little
see
bit
you?
of a noisy background, so um, I appreciate you doing this today with all that is happening. And I find it very helpful to reground and get back to the values idea in my brain. Where is that all at before taking actions and think doing or saying things? And
Yeah.
and it is a little challenging to witness it from so far away, like everything that's happening there, knowing a lot of people in that area. And um, and also all events, like these events taking place all over and through the years of existence. It's like there's these hard times, and I think it's important there's leaders like you that show up even when things are really hectic to guide and keep people on the rails, because if we're not on the rails we're not able to help others, and
Right.
and so it's good to just that whole oxygen on the airplane thing too is important. So yeah, to just be there and be a sounding board and be available and hear what the needs are rather than thinking I know what the needs are,
Mm.
because even when people are grieving, it's like everybody grieves in different ways and people need different things
Yeah.
and to ask instead of just assume. So that's kind of, I'm glad that you're having this on a Saturday. Works great for me.
I know it's nice to be able to have a Saturday, and we one of the things I like to talk about is that the values are a bridge between our highest self, our best self, and the outside
But yeah,
world.
you said something before. I have locked here. Hold on. You said, no, that's not it. Where'd it go?
I'll
You
finish
said
the
our
thought for you.
values help us find a way back to ourselves.
Yeah.
Was that connected to what you were just going to say? I don't know.
Yeah, no, it is because it finds a way back to ourselves first. It's the bridge to ourselves, but it's and not but and they're the bridge to others, right? If we go just to helping others without the bridge back to ourselves, that leads to burnout. That leads to overgiving often. Whereas if we bridge back to ourselves first, take put the oxygen mask on ourselves before we help another, but also don't just stay there either. That's why I call them the bridge. We can be in our trauma, we can be in that, but like Sheila was saying, it's compassion for what's happening to others too. What Christina was saying, right? So it's the yes and of it, and the values. What I have found, so I'll use the example, the values of connection. If that's how can I connect to myself first? Whether that's through meditation or even just collaging for 10 minutes or 20 minutes, something like that. And then I can go volunteer after I do that. But if I put too much out, I'm not capable of it. And I'll burn out quickly. And then to your point about asking what they need, we were hearing the firefighters needed meals that had protein in them. So okay, we'll make stuff. And I was like, wait, let's call and make sure. And can they even accept meals that some random person brings? And what do we bring? So Ella called the fire station, and they were like, we've got so much stuff. We don't need anything. Donate to the Red Cross. Go help the evacuees. I mean, because they're men of service, most often men or people of service, they're not, they weren't like, yeah, bring this food. There wasn't any of that. So getting clear about what the needs are of others, but it starts with connecting back to ourselves, the need of what we need, so that we're able to hear what others need too. Otherwise, we become it's too easy to self-abandon and focus on other people quickly. And the values really provide that path in a way, or a path through both a difficult time or a great time. So, hi, Jen. It's so nice to see you. Not see your face, but see your name pop up. Are you in a place where you can say hi or share while you're here?
Yeah, hi.
There you
Jen.
are.
Let
Hi.
the video's going, I'll put it back on.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm in LA, so I'm going through it like we all are, and
Yeah.
the duality of like I'm okay, my house is okay, but you see the fires or it's just hard. So I've been working this week and I lashed out a little bit and was like, well, who fucking cares about this project with everything that's going on? And now today, the Saturday, I like miss work because it was a good distraction. So I was just and I did the values thing like years ago. I don't remember what my values are anymore. Like my brain is about 50%. Like I have to write down a list to like remember to eat, and I'm not, I want to help people, but I also want to like take care of myself and get out of here. And it's just, it's a whirlwind. It's hard. It's heartbreaking to see everything that's going on. So, and
Are you being evacuated?
no, I'm 10 miles south. I'm 10
Yeah.
miles south of the Eaton fire. So I haven't, and that's just it. Like I haven't been evacuated. My house is still relatively fine. I don't think anything is going to happen to it. I'm in East LA. There's no brush and stuff around here. There's hardly any trees. So it's like I'm not that worried about it, but you never know. But everybody I know knows somebody who's been evacuated. Everybody I know knows somebody who's lost their home. It's just impacting everyone in a way that's really hard to kind of deal with. And I feel like when I share, I'm like gonna bring everybody down, you know? And so when I'm just trying to like find this inner strength that I don't really have right now, honestly. So that's why I'm here. I just was like off camera trying to like just hear what other people are doing because there are a lot of strong women here and it's hard. It's really hard.
It's really hard. Yeah.
It is really hard. And this is a collective trauma. This is a collective
I,
loss. And
everybody's on edge.
yeah.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
strength comes from what you're talking about. The strength is from the grief, the loss, honoring our hearts. It is heartbreaking.
Mm-hmm.
And how can we care for ourselves? And I've had those moments too where I'd get an email from someone, we talk about the project. This is so not important, like,
Yeah. And then
and
I felt so bad because I'm like, it doesn't help the rest of my team if I'm like lashing out. And so then I apologize to everybody, but it's just like,
yeah,
like it's a real thing that's happening right now. And then today I'm like, gosh, I kind of wish I like had all these
yeah,
distractions to be doing instead. So it's the duality, and my house is still fine. It's just smoky and then you have people checking in and you want to get back to them, but you haven't checked in on your friends and you think everyone's okay. And it's
yeah.
just
I know. I forgot. I haven't checked in with this person. It's exactly right. It is mental gymnastics, physical gymnastics for, the breathing of the air. And it is unprecedented.
yeah.
This is not anything. I've lived through a lot of things. I've been in LA 30 years,
Yeah.
more than 30 years. I was here for the riots and
Oh
the
God.
earthquake and the floods. I mean, the first couple years here, it was intense. Christina was here.
Yeah.
She remembers. I remember walking around after the earthquake with Christina in Santa Monica. And this even feels different than that.
Does
That
it feel
was
similar?
1993.
The
Yeah.
earthquake was 94, the riots, what, 92?
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And yet this feels life changing. This is one of those things where they called it a hurricane of fire, someone I heard.
Mhm.
And that seemed about right when the winds were growing that hard, but they're throwing flames.
Yeah.
And I think that's an important thing to remember too, because with social media, like I also found I had to get off of social media. It was
Oh,
good,
for sure.
and then it wasn't good. And
Yeah.
then I also have to stop getting the updates on the fires. And then
Mhm.
so it's kind of, that's why it is a lot of yes and it's a lot of duality. And
Mhm.
you've been working all week. I've been trying to I've worked as I could, but
Mhm.
also caring for my kids and their young adults. And gosh, our children have seen, and all of us have gone through more unprecedented events in the last 5 years or 10 years than other people had. And so, and it's not just that like it's not just that we've gone through these things, they've been in our face because of social media. And
Mhm.
that's not meaning social media is all bad or not. It's just another level of it. So, um, so the values provide that anchor back to ourselves. I want to keep a focus on that.
Yeah.
And, I encourage, if you haven't looked at your values, see if you can find your old stuff, but there's always an
They're right
opportunity to
somewhere.
do it
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
A lot of times it's the same, it comes up similarly. And because when we have our set, we can then really rely on it. And the more we use it, the more we can go to it. They're at our fingertips. So even my value of creativity, which means thinking outside the box with vision and imagination. Okay, it also means to me holding two complete opposite ideas at the same time, which is what we're talking about here. So because I know that's what my value of creativity means, this session, this workshop of the 1111 is a representation of my value of creativity because we're talking about the content of this, which is holding two completely similar, seemingly opposing ideas at the same time. But that really is the path forward, and that's why it's living our values is the way through. Because a lot of times there aren't answers. You're going to hear a lot of people want to kind of say what this is or who to blame or what is going on. And a lot of that's distraction. Our feelings are our feelings, how we feel about them. We can transmute them, we can feel them. We don't have to stay in them. I think that's important. We have them. I've had to set at different points of grief in my life. I've had to set a timer. And this is a really good tool. Like give myself 10 minutes to just feel whatever I'm feeling. If it's anger, pound the pillow. If I'm crying, cry. And I know it sounds kind of funny to set a timer to cry, but man, does it work.
Yeah.
And it gives me a boundary around it. So I'm not staying in that, but I can go, full out with the tears at that point. And that offer, as a value perspective, from a values perspective, that's integrity. That's honoring myself. That's walking the walk, being able to say, okay, I need to cry here. Because sometimes I'll hold it and I'll hold it and I'll hold it all day because I won't want to cry in front of the kids. And get in the shower and I'll think I'll need to cry, but then I only have kind of dry, it's like it doesn't, the release is hard. But if I just give myself the time and I'm consistent with it, it can really open things up in a way.
Yeah.
And there are other people like I'm the one who holds it together, keeps it together. So I have to make the time. There are others who are different than me, who are more emotional and have a hard time not being in their feelings. I have a child, a daughter like that. So it's like, it's not one right way. This might not be the right way for somebody else, but I do think that's being able to take care of ourselves, see ourselves, know ourselves through our value allows us to see others through theirs, not judge them for it but be able to see who they are as they walk through it. Because everybody's going to have a reaction too. And, we're 3 miles south of the evacuations for the Palisades fire. And, 1 minute it seems okay. And then the next minute not. I did start to organize some things and had to switch all my masks from COVID to fire. I had a 9.5, I had a 9.5 mask when COVID started because of fire, but, like reorganizing all the emergency things and then just I get into the doing of things. And then I had to kind of sit with the emotion of it and listen, like Christina said, or Sheila said, listen to what is people need. And that's in any form of situation, right? Can we listen more, listen to ourselves, and then listen to others? Any kind of leadership during any time. I consider myself a leader of my home as a parent, leading this. So we have time to have anyone have any questions or want to go deeper in an area or share resources. This is a time to be able to do that from a values lens
Well, I think just in light of the fire, a lot of community service organizations are asking for volunteers and are asking for donations, probably mainly clothes. But I saw on Nextdoor somebody offering a whole living room of furniture that they were giving to someone who might need it. And Airbnb is offering free places for people to stay.
yes, I think
And
and Lyft and Uber
and
are
Uber
offering
are offering
free
rides.
rides,
Yeah.
right? Because my daughter's a senior at UCLA, so there's a lot of students there. The ones who aren't from here or don't have family nearby and they don't have anywhere to go. And also encouraging everyone to drink water, whether you're here or not. That's why I'm drinking. Like that is a loving act towards myself. That is part of my value of sustainability, integrity, because I'm definitely feeling the smoke in my head today, particularly, even though I've been wearing masks. But the dogs need walks and we'll see if the air quality gets any better.
Well, I have seen a map of the air quality, and it's gone from the first day, which was 500 particulate things,
Yeah.
to today it's 62. So it's way down.
It depends on where you are.
Well, yeah, and the map shows that close to the beach is clean, clean, and in the mountains toward Eaton, it's not good. But like the majority of LA is at about 62.
Yeah, we're more like 100. I mean, I'm 2 miles from the beach and we're 105 right now, which is
Mm.
unhealthy for sensitive people. So it's changing, and I think it's paying attention
Mhm.
to that. And I'm a sensitive one, so I have to be really careful with that. Um, so, and I think it's important not to minimize. That's, that whole idea. Well, it didn't happen. I didn't lose my house. So is it okay for me to be upset? And the answer is yes. We're
Mhm.
all going through this together. We care for each other. We didn't have to have the same thing happen for it to have resonance to us, to touch our hearts. And I think that's such an important thing. And to honor in ourselves that compassion that we have, and help focus on ourselves and focus on and allow that compassion to be self-compassion as
Mhm.
well as
What's
outer.
hard though about like the self-compassion, and this is what I've been going through. I have been dealing with, my changing life. My sons are grown, and my whatever he is living his life separately, and I sit here in a really beautiful area in Marin County. There are not fires right now, and I feel like I'm an asshole to complain because I'm privileged, right? Like I'm privileged. I have healthy children. I have a roof over my head for now. um, and so it's a duality again, Amy, I really have been grieving this, this slowly, falling apart marriage. And it's been such grief. But I don't want to say too much to anybody because people have lost jobs. People are, like people have their own trauma. And now in Los Angeles are going through this trauma too. So I've had a really hard time and have actually retreated and not stuck talking to people about what I was going through because it seems selfish and it seemed I'm just a privileged, person living in a pretty, area with healthy kids, and I'm okay. So I think I've been trying to retreat from speaking out, and that's kind of why I was glad to join today, even though I didn't want to step on anybody's toes because I'm not in Southern California going through this horrible stuff, and yet I feel like I have so little voice to discuss, my values and what challenges I'm facing. From the outside in, it sure looks like what's wrong with Christina? Get over yourself, right?
Well, related to that, Christine, and related to this loss, I just wanted to say there's a man on TED.com named Pico Ayer who talks about home and what home is and all the losses he's been through and how home has its own resonance and its own you keep redefining it in your life all through these changes in your life. Home is really a value. Where am I? Where is my home? And it's a really beautiful, I think, 25-minute speech that he makes at TED.com.
I'm going to listen to that because as I feel as many by you guys now, I feel like the carpet has been slipped out from under me. So trying to redefine home, like you were saying, it's home is not just four walls, of course. What is my home now with all the changes in my personal life?
It's thank you, Terry, and thank you, Christina. That it's a really beautiful image and an idea to take with us. And I want to just say one thing about values, because this can kind of come up a lot in culture and in particularly our American culture and social media, is that values are not judgmental. There are no should, there's no judging others around values. You can use discernment where, oh, that doesn't look like it aligns with me. But the idea that you shouldn't have a voice or shouldn't have self-compassion because somebody else is, that's an ingrained kind of belief system that will be, gets in the way of really living your values rather than it being something that's true. And our values provide a way out of that, right? So if you value presence, can I be present with the loss of my own home? And because I'm present with my own home, I can have compassion, as you said, and understanding and kindness towards other people who are losing their physical homes that may not be in the same situation I'm in. And it's more, and then for me, that would be connection, right? You're using your values to help connect to yourself and to others. It's the both. Rather than, okay, they're more important than I am and what I'm going through. Oh, no, I can honor and self-honor myself. But that's why we look at our values from the lens of looking inward, using our inner compass, and then also outward. So they don't get stuck in one or the other. We can get stuck inside or we can get stuck outer only and either self-abandon or isolate, becomes one or the other. Sheila, you look like you wanted to say something.
I was just thinking of the phrase, we're participating in the human experience. So it's like everything that you go through is not unique to you, but it is unique to you. And it's in finding that, it's in experiencing it for yourself and then honoring yourself enough to experience what is real for you right now. And then knowing what helps me is knowing that many other people have gone through grief and loss of many types, loss of relationships, loss of what's familiar, loss of home, physical, not physical, all of those things, and they're equally valid. It's like our feelings are our feelings, and our grief is our grief, and our loss is our loss, and that's the thing that connects us too, because it's like, yeah, your loss is different, and it shows up differently, Christina, because of where you are in your life and your own experience. But it's like there will always be people who have more, and always people who have less, but that doesn't make our pain and our struggle any less because of that. It just connects us because it's like it's universal. It's like everybody goes through that. Whether you live in a hut or a mansion, loss is loss. And we feel it the same way.
And I think having a path forward, whether it's living your values and helping others and or taking care of yourself, right? That's a value that I've had a hard time with because I don't know how to take care of myself anymore. But really focusing on that and also moving forward and not spinning my wheels and not making progress, emotional progress. And so
the values are that for me, that's what I wanted to share with you all today, which was that the path forward is more love and that can be living our values because each of your values has something to share with you about yourself, right? So if one of your values is presence, how can I be really present with where I'm at and not judge myself, as well as being present with somebody else? We a lot of times think of it either or. And my hope is that that's what the bridge comes in. It's both. It's self-compassion and compassion for others. And so that's the path. That's the path of love, I think. And why I care about this work so much, because I really think it can help. And like I said, in any kind of challenge right now, we're going through these fires. And it is devastating and on so many different levels. But there's so many other devastations, whether that's hurricanes in Florida or divorces, ends of marriages, loss of health, loss of relationships, loss of business, and whether we're all on a team. And I wanted to bring this up too, because Anita mentioned teams, working with teams. Everyone showing up on a team has that human experience that Sheila's talking about, right? So the more we understand each other from a values lens and understand ourselves, the more we can show up as a team member and recognize, okay, someone may not have realized that, but this is how they're showing up, or they're leaning on this value. If they have that language, you can have that dialogue, because it can help with teams understand each other better and work together with that shared idea, and our communities as well. And it's there's so much uncertainty, Oh, I want to share a joke. Someone posted something like, oh, I've done the 7-day free trial of 2025. I decided I don't want to sign up for the full year. I want my money back. The free trial is done. Thank you. I've had enough. I really appreciated that.
And also, not to be negative, but here I go, because that's kind of where I usually live, is the grieving period of loss. Like, whether it's when I lost my mom and was pregnant, all of that a long time ago. It took me a very long time, and grief took many forms, and there was no end. It's just that moving forward, my life was just redefined, and tried to be empathetic to others, and myself, and just give it time. This time with, losing my marriage, I guess it's losing it, choosing to move forward. It's been a grieving process, and there's no time limit, I guess. But I also think give us all time to grieve, even if that means it's not a day. In Los Angeles, the fires are smoldering, but life has changed now, for so many. And going forward, there's you can't expect, okay, it's Saturday, I'm going to go on a run and I'm going to give back. And actually, it's not like there's no time limit. This is a process. And so the grieving you guys are probably going through, I know, is just, it doesn't end today, because the fires are kind of contained.
No,
But they're not.
And they're not. So you're scared as shit. But I'm just saying. But yes, so they're not contained. But in terms of,
I know your point. But your point is right, and that's why I shared about the setting the timer to cry for 10 minutes.
Correct. And I gotta do that. My timer might be like 30 minutes, not 10.
Take whatever you can, I'm not for me, crying for 10 minutes is long, so everything else. But it's the idea that we can contain, just like you said, when they take care of a fire, they Constance's husband is a fireman, right? No. Yes?
Yeah, right.
So they set fires.
Volunteer.
Volunteer fire, right. So they set, from what I hear, because I have no fireman, clearly.
Yeah.
Yes, they set the fire.
Perimeter.
They call it something where they
Like a perimeter or
do
something.
controlled fires to clear.
Yeah, controlled burn or something.
Oh, yeah.
Right, to contain it. So they're given boundaries to the fire. They're like, okay, if you come here, there's going to be nothing to burn, so you're going to have to stop. And in a way, that's what we can do too with our grief.
I like that.
In a gentle way, right? So we don't have to burn ourselves, but the idea of containing it, to just say you have as much, you can grieve for as much as you want. Or I remember when I went through a breakup, I just kept wanting to watch movies that were about romance and things like that, because I wanted the cathartic moments of that. And we all, as Sheila said, it's part of the human experience. And to bring it back to values, what they do is they anchor us through those times when everything feels like it's moving. So for those of you who have been through the program and have your values, look for them, see where they are. If you have, reach out to me if you want to talk about it, or, want us to create another, we're thinking about doing things, but however it is, whatever way to continue to find that inner compass for yourself that really helps navigate the unknown. And I could put a link in the chat too to have a 20-minute session on Zoom to be able to really talk about what works for you and how to really live and lead with your values, because that's what you're talking about, right? How to do that. Okay. I think it's 20, 30 minutes.
Just
Yeah.
a sec.
Any final thoughts how's I'd love to hear a word or two, how everyone's feeling now that we're connected for this hour of time. Any insights or something that you want to take with you?
Peter, I'm in a meeting.
I appreciate
feeling
everybody's heartfelt shares, and that it's important to hear everybody's struggles and not compare one to the other.
Mhm.
And it's good to be connected.
That's it.
I feel less alone and less feeling, I just feel safer in a space like this without judgment, without just working together, moving forward on each of our challenges. So thank you for everybody. Yeah. Thank you for everything.
Yeah. Who else would like to say something?
I think,
Go ahead,
ahead.
Jen.
I'm feeling much better. And then there was one thing I kind of wanted to share earlier that, there's been this beacon of hope in Pacific Palisades, is that I started attending services at SRF, the Lake Shrine, in September, and it survived. The temple survived. The meditation gardens have survived. So it's really nothing short of a miracle. So I've been really holding on to that. So yeah, that's my share.
I've heard it is a miracle. I read that yesterday. I was so happy to hear that. And the Getty Villa too. So there were some miracles in here. Yeah. Anita, were you going to say something?
I was just gonna say that it just it almost normalizes my feelings by hearing other people that have the same type of concerns and anxiety. So I appreciate you holding this space for us to be able to share and support each other. And then the link, I tried the link and it didn't work. Maybe mine is not the one that you put in the chat. I
Could
just
have been.
wanted to let you know that.
Okay, thank you. Let me see.
Thank you.
Okay. I can also email it to you. I think I have your email. Do you want to put your email in the chat, and then I'll email it to you if I need to update the link. Thank you, Anita. Terry, Sheila, any final thoughts?
Just glad to be here as always. It's always I'm always grateful and just I don't know, just really, I want to say in some ways in awe of who shows up and how these meetings happen and how we connect. And it's always a space that leaves me feeling really connected and grateful and on track. So it's kind of nice to just have that affirmed and to spend this time with you guys, you ladies. It's really beautiful and meaningful. And I love that we continue to talk about living values because it's always relevant and it's where Amy and I reside so much of the time. And it's validating and it's encouraging and it's I'm just grateful for it.
Thank you. Terry, anything? Or did you already say? You're muted.
Tap to speak. Am I on now?
You're muted.
You're on.
You're on now.
Okay. So I just want to thank everyone for bringing everything to the table here and making this a way to connect and reassure each other in some way of our existence, kind of. So much, to have so much, just so much be disappeared in days, just hours, is shocking because, I think what there is an assumption that buildings will not go down as I mean, what we've seen is there's just nothing left. And that is destabilizing for me. It's just the impermanence of life, the impermanence of everything. And it really does make me look around at the things that I hold on to and to say to myself, just let go of these things.
Mm.
They're in the way of progress.
Right. And that is one of your values, right? The I don't have them in front of me, right? But the simplicity, the order, all of that.
Simplicity and order, yeah. And I've been on a recycling binge. And I want to recommend this company called Ridwell, Ridwell. It's a membership thing, and they come to your house and take a lot of things that they turn into other things. It's a recycling. We don't have a car, so it comes in really handy. Other people who have a car, you can just take your stuff wherever you want, but we've decided not to have a car.
So, well, thank you for that, Terry. I think it's just beautifully said and meaningful that we can all come together and really be with each other here and share these insights that we have. So we're not just alone in them, feel more together, feel more connected. And my hope for each of you is just to stay with that. Remember that we have community with each other. We come here every month to do that. I'm happy to talk to you all individually if I can get the right link. If you want to receive the link, put your email in the chat and I'll happily send it to you. And this is a place for us to, like you said, be human. Who do we want to be in the world? We're all very competent women, know what to do most of the time. Our values will help us get more clarity around that. But how do we want to be? How do we want to show up? That's where the values come in. How do we want to do?
Mm-hmm.
So thank you for staying long. I'm happy to stay on longer if anyone wants to process anything. And I can also get the link within a couple minutes as well. But we can end our session now. I respect your time. Thank you,
Thank you.
Jen. Great to
Thank
see you.
you.
Thank you for coming on. Thank you, Terry. Thank you, Anita, Sheila,
Thanks.
and Constance. Thank you for coming.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.